Hi, honey, and welcome to the second episode of Play or Pass, the series where I talk to you about the current state of NGS and if you should play the update or pass the update. This time, I actually got a list of topics to talk about so we don't go completely off the rails. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the current state of NGS. So, if you're excited for huge amounts of content, unfortunately, you might as well come back in December. Because right now, all we got was a defense quest, which was actually pretty fun. I actually really enjoyed the defense quest. That one was really fun. Braver dropped, which happened last episode, actually. And we also got the Autumn Festival, which is basically the same seasonal event that I guess we're going to keep having, except now it's autumn themed, and I actually like it. Now, in terms of other stuff, that's pretty much where the content ends. So, if you're new to the game, I would recommend to play right now, because anything you would be doing off-season would now be double rewarded with the seasonal points. Now, if you're not new to the game, this is a 50-50 for me on player passing. I would say if you didn't make an evil code weapon, you might want to make one eventually from how versatile they are. But if you also already have a weapon setup or unit setup, there's not really too much incentive, I would say, to come back and regrind your gear. Especially with the difficulty of the game currently, anything you made since the start of the release, as long as it wasn't something like a Thesis armor, but even a Thesis armor would work, honestly, it's gonna carry you pretty hard gear-wise. Now, defense quests is, just so you guys know, you do have a higher requirement than the other urgent quests. So I believe, and anyone can correct me in the comments, that you need 1274 battle power and I believe a minimum of level 16 to do them. And that's the only thing that stops you from doing that. Other than that, for me personally, this update has been kind of a pass because I'm mostly just waiting for Bouncer, which is dropping in October. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Now, moving on from the current state of NGS, let's talk about something that annoys the crap out of me. And that right there is the $100 Sonic Dash. This isn't a talk, okay, about the monetization of the game and how we need to move to some theoretical model to really improve the game and do all that stuff. No, this is none of that. This is a personal vendetta against a $100 Sonic Dash. And here's the reason why, okay? I was expecting $20 or $40 for a collab pack like last time, which is a-okay. Locking a Sonic Dash behind $100 of stuff that I realistically don't care about and don't want to buy, which is AC scratches, yeah, that's just a no for me. If you saw my tweet on the actual post, if you follow me on Twitter, I went, yo, WTF, bro, $100 for the Sonic Dash? Like, are you kidding me? That is what I was looking forward to a lot, and yeah, you can criticize me for saying if you really wanted it, you'd spend $100. But also, there's a lot of things that I'd rather spend $100 on that aren't turning into Sonic. Like $20? Sure. $40? Kind of pushing it. $100? Yeah, no, that's like a full... That's like buying a Destiny 2 Deluxe Edition right there. Or an expansion where you're still gonna have to buy season passes and other stuff. Actually, that's a lie, because if you buy the Deluxe Edition for Destiny 2, you would have access to all the season passes. So, already, like, that's just too much money, in my opinion. Especially for a game that I play nearly 100% free-to-play. So anyways, that's my rant on the $100 thing. This is the thing you probably want to hear about, which is the ban wave. So if you didn't know, and you probably know if you're watching my videos, because a lot of content creators and just the general community have been talking about this, and it's been making waves. Get it? Ban waves making waves. But yeah, so SEGA updated their toxicity and behavior policy and have banned 1,600 players. So this is basically spelling doom across the board. Everyone's freaking out about it. And for me personally, I just gotta say it was something that was in the works and was guaranteed to happen eventually, mainly due to Global's audience. And you might be wondering, what do I mean? Well, I used to play PSO2 JP, as many of you know, throughout the years, and one of the things I've noticed when I went to Global, and this is pretty funny, is the rampant amount of anime titties. And I don't mean on your character, I mean like literal hentai everywhere. So in JP on Ship 2, there was like Block 20 and Block 1 where a lot of foreigners would like congregate and then just spam symbol art of hentai 24/7. Well, it was like that on NA except every single block. So I was kind of wondering like, oh man, they actually gave us symbol art when Global released, and I was like, how long is it gonna take until they like strip it away from us? Or they have to do something more aggressive than Japan? And the answer was literally about almost 2 years then, because it's super recent. I don't really know if it's 2 years, because it was basically like last week. So it took that long for Sega to update their policy to encompass the rampant amount of stuff we do in Global. And by the way, what I mean, okay, is I'm not against you if you have anime titties in your symbol art. I mean, I have anime titties in my symbol art, but I gotta say, okay, on PSO2 JP, I could open up the personal shops on stream and be okay. In NA, I would probably never touch the personal shops because if you guys remember one of the first videos on my channel, the Meseta guide, I had to blur everything because the first 20 listings of the random things I would search for were just pure hentai. And, you know, I'm not against hentai, I'm a weeb, for God's sake. But, like, dang, that's a lot of anime titties right there. And something had to be done just from how Global would do it. I mean, if we compare it to another game, right? Mabinogi, it all comes back to Mabinogi, guys. If we compare it to Mabinogi, right? Mabinogi had a feature where you could draw images and then send it to players. And I don't know if that was kept in Korea, but it was a feature in Japan, I believe, and anyone can correct me. But that did not make it to the US for good reasons. And it's just the way that, you know, it would be abused. And I think that's what ended up happening in PSO2 Global, was that, you know, just from my personal experience, like, seeing 50 to 100 times more anime titties every time you open up a personal shop would end up having to trigger that kind of response from Sega. You know, like, the game is... I actually have no clue what the rating is. It's probably M, honestly, with the amount of, like, lewdness we have. And here's the thing, okay? This is a separation we gotta make. There's a difference between having ultra-lewd outfits, right? And, you know, hardcore hentai being displayed. And, you know, I haven't even touched on the other topic yet, which is probably another reason why the bans have been happening. But, like, this is the reason why I think the majority happened. Which is why, if you know someone, okay, who's been banned, and they contact Sega and they get back to them, apparently, and I don't know if you should trust Sega on this, but I'm just gonna trust it because it is just a random customer service worker. They will tell you the reasoning for the ban, and there might be a chance, okay, that the reason they were banned was that they put just straight up hentai in their personal shop and someone ended up reporting it. And that is what you gotta be careful with, guys. Is we're gonna get symbol art back, it is confirmed, but keep your hentai, okay, with your friend groups who will not report you. Don't put it out in area chat, okay? Don't be whispering it to random players. Just keep the symbol art hentai you have within your friend group where you know you won't report each other. And don't report each other for fun, okay? We found out recently that if you ERP in PSO2 NGS, okay, you can be banned if someone reports it. So just as a joke for precaution, don't report each other if you're ERPing as well. Or keep the ERPs to Discord chat. Like, this is something that, oh my god, I can't believe I just went on a whole talk about hiding your hentai from SEGA. But, yeah, just hide your hentai, guys. Hide your hentai, keep the horniness levels slightly lower. Dress your character as lewd as you want, that's okay. But just don't be, you know, don't do anything sexually explicit in the game that you know is pushing the boundaries, okay? Like, yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, guys. Now, onto the other reason why they ban people, which is the name of their new policy change, which is toxicity and hate. Okay. We are NA, and I'm just gonna say it straight up, okay? NA's community in a lot of games is extremely competitive, and there are a very vocal minority who get a little heated if something doesn't go their way. Well, unfortunately, when that happens, people's feelings get hurt, and then they report, and then you'll get banned. So the only thing I could say is just don't push it. Like, don't push, like, if you're angry with someone right in game, you oh god, this sounds horrible to come from a content creator. You can insult them, but don't do it in a way that is, like, overboard, okay? Like, if you tell someone, hey, you're bad, is it mean? Yeah. But it's not as bad as saying a whole bunch of horribleness that you can tell them. And honestly, in my opinion, okay, if you think someone is bad and they're holding you back, okay, and they're trying their best, don't say anything about it. Just accept that the game you're playing, okay, we're playing NGS, which is a niche anime game in a niche MMO genre, and MMOs are not that popular anymore. The golden age of MMOs is basically over. It's battle royales now, and I think arena shooters. I hope arena shooters. I love arena shooters. Not Valorant, that's what, no. But like actual arena shooters like Quake and stuff, which I don't think they're ever gonna come back. But yeah, that's the thing, is we're playing a niche game. You're gonna run into the same people over and over. I think it's better if we just help each other as a community rather than just like crap on each other. And that's a secret that is the reason I haven't been banned in Final Fantasy XIV. Like, we could say that Final Fantasy XIV has the most positive community, but it's also extremely curated. If you hurt someone's feelings, okay, in Final Fantasy XIV, there's a chance you might get banned if they report it. So the best choice, I would say, in Final Fantasy XIV is the same advice I'm giving you right now, which is don't say things, okay, in the heat of the moment that would get you banned, and you know it would get you banned, okay? Like that, those kinds of things, you gotta not do that. And Final Fantasy XIV is a great example of that because you can get like a temp ban pretty easily just by hurting someone's feelings just slightly. Like that's the way that game works. In Sega's version of the toxicity bans, I'm not too sure. Like, it might be ultra aggressive, we actually don't know yet, but the things I've seen over the course of playing NA, since we all speak the same language generally, is like, damn, dude. Like, man, that is pretty harsh to say to someone. And that's from doing like Twisted with Hatred, like the high-end PSO2 NA content and like other stuff where if you fail one thing, right, people get incredibly mad. Some of the things I've read were just like, oh man, like Sega allows that, but recently they don't. So that I don't know where I was going with my take on the toxic ban topic. I should bring it all back. So basically, don't post hentai, okay? Just straight up keep your hentai with your friend group. Hide it like you're hiding something, okay? Because let's be honest, we all probably have hentai symbol art, in which case, it's pretty common. It's art. Hentai. I'm just kidding. Don't quote me on that, please. But, yeah, so keep sexually explicit material, preferably not in the game, because that Sega might flag you if someone reports you. And then just don't be mean. Like that's the other thing is just know there's a human being behind the monitor, and that's like it. Now on the topic of how many people they banned, this is something that I always find funny because people are like, oh, they banned 40% of the player base. Realistically, when you think about it, they banned 1,600 players, and the amount of players concurrently playing NGS every day is like 3K to 5K, I would say. Like since Steam's release, like this is based off Steam numbers completely. It's around 3,000 to 5,000 concurrently. And after the ban wave, it actually stayed the same amount. So my guess, honestly, is the 1,600 bans probably included a crap ton of bots, because there's so many of them. And then this is something that might instill a little fear for those of you who have not logged in. It might also include people who listed stuff in their personal shop and it's a hentai banner. And that might constitute it because the active amount of players is still relatively the same. Like the game it's safe. It's safe. The game itself is a niche game, so it's pretty much the same people playing it constantly, with some new players coming in and dropping in and stuff. So it's like, yeah, there's a high chance it's probably inactive accounts who had like hentai banners. So if you haven't logged in and you know you have a hentai banner, and don't tell me you didn't put it, because let's be honest, you make a conscious decision to do it. Like, I'll be honest, okay, my banner for my personal shop is from Evangelion, and it's not hentai, guys, okay? It's when the Diamond Angel, I forgot the name already, I'm an Eva fan, he's like invading Tokyo 3, but instead of Tokyo 3, well, instead of the angel being blue, right? He's like a giant Meseta, and that's my personal shop thing. And then my actual like Arcs card is Asuka. Just not lewd Asuka, just literally Asuka doing a wing, and that's it. So I know for me I'm safe, and just checking just in case, because I know what's in my symbol art saved stuff. I did log in and I'm not banned, so yeah. But also, I don't really talk in-game, just from Final Fantasy XIV stuff where, like, you know, the GMs can only realistically ban you for stuff you've done in-game. So if you're ever mad in-game, right? Yeah, just don't go on a tirade on someone just because they didn't do something you like wanted. Especially with the way the game is structured. It's always been a casual game. It's like Dead by Daylight. So if you don't know what I mean by that, like Dead by Daylight's a pretty casual game. It's not meant to be competitive. Anyways, yeah, that's where I should conclude the ban wave talk, honestly. And I don't know where I was going with that. Basically, just hide your hentai from Sega. They are peering over you, and just don't be an ass. Like that's my one cuss word I can use this whole video. And now, moving on from there, let's talk about the disappearance of every dairy. You might be wondering, okay, I have a consistent upload schedule of every Saturday. What happened to me? Why did I start uploading Wednesdays and stuff? And let me tell you this, okay? If you looked at the community tab, you might have noticed that I did make a little update when my upload schedule was getting kind of scuffed. And the reason was because I was playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and started doing Ultimate because I just had the time and I never really had the time to do it. So me being me, I decided, well, the best course of action, since I want this ultimate kill, is to play all my free time trying party finders and just trying to get the ultimate down. And I managed to do it within like 6 to 7 days of just pure party finder memes. And I am an ultimate leggy and it feels great. I got a glowing sword. It was one of the most fun content I've ever done. Now, the other stuff I've been doing besides that, and trust me, that blue sword is, oh my god, it is so nice and glowy. But the other stuff I've been doing is, if you remember last time, I asked for some MMORPG recommendations you guys have been making, well, have been suggesting, and I would try them out, and that's what I did. Was I tried out a lot of MMORPGs, and oh boy, there was a lot of interesting stuff, and it really made me think more about NGS and how it compares to these other games. So I played Destiny 2, and I'm still kind of sort of playing Destiny 2. If you know my feelings on Destiny 2, I have a large amount of gripes with how the monetization is like held on it and how people are kind of soft on it because they call it a free-to-play game. But realistically, that's not true as of Beyond Light. With Destiny 2, you gotta buy Beyond Light. Like, straight up, if you're thinking about playing Destiny 2, the free-to-play content in that game is basically a free trial. You had to get Beyond Light, and the reason why is because of a system where they removed a lot of old and dated content, which was also content that free-to-play players could access. So if you don't have Beyond Light, you're missing out on a huge portion of the game, and it's pretty awful. But on top of that, and this is where I say the monetization issue comes into play, is that you need Forsaken and Shadowkeep, and I don't mean you need them, but if you want to do Nightfall strikes, which are higher level-ish dailies and weeklies, basically, you're gonna need those too. Because if you don't have Forsaken and Shadowkeep, then you basically can't do Nightfalls for certain weeks. And that was the issue I ran into, which made me quit. Well, all of that went on sale, and I ended up buying Forsaken and Shadowkeep and playing Beyond Light again. And I gotta say, the game is decent. Like, it's not bad, but it's pretty decent and fun. Would I ever main Destiny 2? The answer to that would probably be no. But in terms of a game where you can hop on and feel like you're progressing, it's very nice. But outside of that, the other issue is that they also implement Battle Eye, and oh boy. So the Battle Eye has been giving me like performance issues. Anyways, that's the end of me talking about Destiny 2. Sorry, I gotta make sure I cut this video like not too long. But yeah, so moving on from Destiny 2, let's talk about Lost Ark. Lost Ark, if you haven't heard the news, is delayed till March 2022, I believe, and that's a long time. Lost Ark is what I was actually super excited for. A viewer, one of you viewers suggested Lost Ark. I checked out the gameplay. It looks exactly like what I'm looking for. And unfortunately, I don't want to play the Russia server, so I was waiting for the US server, and that got delayed to March. So if you guys are looking forward to Lost Ark and Lost Ark content that I'm going to be producing in the future, unfortunately, March. Now, onto the Goliath of MMOs, the one that you've been hearing waves about. New World. Okay, here's my opinion on New World. New World, in my opinion, is so bad it makes NGS look good. And you might be wondering, what do you mean? Well, the open beta is currently running from September 10th to the 12th. And I basically sped ran the whole entire game to see what my true opinion of the game would be, because I don't think it's fair to judge a game based off the early... Well, actually, no, I think it's fair to judge a game based off how it initially plays, because if the initial gameplay doesn't interest you, okay, I wouldn't spend 100 hours trying to see if it does interest you. So for New World, immediately, the initial gameplay for me was like, I thought about it and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then as I continued through the game, yeah, no. Like, so here's my grievances with the New World, is that, do I think it's a good game? The answer to that is yes. I think New World is decent, but it has no direction. And that was the issue that I was running into with the game, was that it felt like it wanted to go towards a PvP setup like they initially planned. And a lot of the ways they structured stuff, it really points to that. But then at some point in the development process, it feels like they wanted to go towards PvE and then crafting. But all three of these systems, right, they feel extremely incomplete. And that's the issue. That's why I say, like, for me personally, it feels so bad it makes NGS look good. Because NGS has a clear vision of what it wants to be. And it's a hub-based game where you wait for urgent quests. It's PSO2, basically. Like, that's what NGS is. It already has its formula set in stone. New World, currently for me, I feel like doesn't have any sort of direction, and that is probably the downfall to the game. In terms of lifespan, I would give for New World, if we talk about optimization, it's not that good on that front either. So I would say I would not buy New World on release. 100% do not buy New World on release. That is my personal opinion, to save you guys $40. I ended up buying Endwalker for Final Fantasy just because of how bad the open beta was for me in terms of my experiences with PvP, PvE, crafting. There is one thing I will say about New World though, which is super good, is the sound design in that game is actually really cool. Like, it's actually, when you start gathering right, it feels like you're gathering in a ravine when you hit a rock and it goes bonk and you hear like the echo of the sound. Like, that is actually really cool and I like it. The rest of it, not so. Using a bow felt like a robot imitating a human. Like, it didn't feel satisfying and there was no feedback. Hitting things in general in New World, it feels like there's no feedback and the combat feels super floaty and not that responsive or good. And if we're looking at optimization, when you go into a town, yeah, no. If you're anywhere near a town and you're just questing around those areas, it's also pretty awful. So I would say check out New World in like 6 months if Amazon doesn't completely shelve it for like Lost Ark. Now, Lost Ark, there's already a Korea and Russia version, so you can already base your opinions based on how people like those versions. And from what I've seen, and from people I've asked who played Lost Ark, they all highly promote it. So I'm very excited for that game. New World, definite pass. Save yourself $40. And you might be wondering, okay, why am I so cruel to New World? And this is what I mean by why I judge games on different bases, is that if we compare it to NGS, right? NGS is free, so realistically, I'm just losing time. New World is $40, so already I lost $40 playing the game if I buy it, and then I'm also losing my time from how bad it is in the current state. I think in 6 months, if they choose a direction, it's going to be good. Now, for your other offerings on alternative games, I did try Path of Exile recently, and if you like action RPGs, Path of Exile is great. And I also tried, what was that game? Oh no, not tried. I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14. 14, I will say, has an extremely high investment just to get into the game. And that's probably the only reason why I don't really recommend it to new players, because you're looking at like spending, assuming you use the entry-level sub, like $12.99 a month, and then expansions, which it costs a lot. And that's a pretty steep investment into an MMO. And the majority of NGS players I know, like, you know, premium, no, not even premium, Shop Pass at $7 a month is already, like, that's already hella pushing it. And then on top of that, actually, yeah, it's just Shop Pass. I don't know anyone who buys premium. Premium in NGS is, so I didn't say, like, you know, I have issues with the monetization or something. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Oh man, this is going way too long. Basically, premium is a scam. Don't buy it. It is worthless. Shop Pass, the current state of the game, okay, right now, is that if you want to get fashion, you're going to need a Shop Pass. At least currently. And if you don't need a Shop Pass later on and they have weeklies per character, then you're going to be investing $5 a character slot for weeklies. But I think they're going to keep it account bound just to prevent, like, having 60 characters all making 2 mil each again. So on that front, like, the monetization for the game is like, there's nothing really to spend money on, realistically. And with the current state of the game in terms of content too, I would say if you want to play the economy game and you're playing it like actively right now, purchase a Shop Pass, because it's going to make your life way easier in terms of getting Enmaseta. But if you're playing the game on and off, I would not purchase a Shop Pass, and the reason why is even with a Shop Pass, okay, the amount of materials in the economy is so oversaturated right now that it's kind of hard to sell anything unless you're AC scratching. Like that is pretty much all you're really making your money off of outside of grinding fixes, and fixes are my biggest issue in NGS, and I think they should be transferable. Because at the current state of fixes, it's like, yeah, it's just complete RNG. And that's like the only realistic issue I have in NGS, is just fixes. Otherwise, I'd be playing the game way more. Other than that, like, yeah, like that pretty much covers everything. So yeah, the current state of NGS, you got Autumn Festival currently, and Defense Quests. October, we will get Bouncer, which is super cool, and I'm super hyped for that. The reason I was gone was procrastinating. Realistically, procrastinating and playing other games, because I am a gamer who makes irresponsible decisions, and you can watch those irresponsible decisions on twitch.tv/everydairy. Did you guys like that shameless plug? And yeah, that pretty much concludes this episode of Player Pass, episode 2. Thank you all for watching. And as a little update for the channel, I am planning on making some weird videos, which you guys might be surprised about. I mean, if you looked at my latest videos, it was mostly just Final Fantasy stuff and then a little bouncer thing, but outside of that, we're gonna start getting some weird videos, because I got some ideas, especially after grinding Ultimate, because that gives you a lot of time to think about ideas when you wait 4 hours for a party. And yeah, it's some manifesting time. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.